All right, welcome back. Part 2 of graphing standard form quadratics. So in this example, we've got x or y equals negative 2x squared plus 4x. And notice that there's no c. So if there's no c, we can say that that is the same as having c equal to 0. So a equals negative 2, b equals 4, and c equals 0. The direction of opening is down because a is negative. Since a is less than 0, a is negative, it opens down. The vertex, so remember we have the x-coordinate is negative b over 2a, and that's negative 4 over 2 times a, which is negative 2. So we have negative 4 over negative 4, which is positive 1. X equals 1. I'm going to jump down here and say, hey, that's the axis of symmetry. X equals 1. And I'm going to go over and sketch that first. Remember, your vertex will lie on your axis of symmetry. So then we just go back to the equation. Y equals then negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1. Negative 2 times 1 squared is negative 2. And 4 times 1 is 4. Negative 2 plus 4 equals 2. And so our x-coordinate is 1. Our y-coordinate is 2. Our vertex then is the point 1, 2. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to mark my vertex 1, 2, and that's our vertex. It's either going to be the highest point or the lowest point. And since it opens down, that means there's no point higher than that. It is a maximum. And what is the maximum value? The maximum value, y equals 2. What is the y-intercept? Remember that the y-intercept is the value of 0. It's this here, and since there's nothing there, it'd be the same as saying, hey, what's plus 0? So the y-intercept then is 0, 0. And since we have the axis of symmetry, we can say, hey, this is 1 unit away from the axis of symmetry. 1 unit on the other side of axis of symmetry is another point. The axis of symmetry makes it nice to graph quadratics. Let's see here. Domain. The domain will be from negative infinity to positive infinity. And our range, since it opens down, the smallest value, the least value, there is no least value. So we start down here at negative infinity is the smallest possible place. And it's a direction, really, more than a number. So we've got negative infinity, and it goes up as high as 2. And at 2, it can be equal to 2, so we show the bracket. And just to sort of sketch then what this looks like. It's going to look something like that. That's just a rough sketch, but that's basically what this thing is going to look like. All right, let's look at the next example. 3x squared minus 6x minus 5. So it's already in standard form, so we've got 3, a is 3, b is negative 6, and c is negative 5. Direction of opening. It opens up because a is positive. 3 is greater than 0. 3 is 0. 3 is positive. Our vertex, x equals negative b over 2a. And in this case, that's negative of negative 6 over 2 times a, which is 3. Negative of negative 6 is positive 6, divided by 2 times 3, which is also 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So my x coordinate is 1, and y equals 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 minus 5. And this part here would give me 3. 1 times 1 is 1, times 3 is 3. Minus 6 times 1 is minus 6, and then I've got minus 5. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. And so the vertex is the point 1 comma negative 8. If I go over here to my graph, I go to 1 down to negative 8. I know it's going to open up, so I'm going to label it down here. This is my vertex, and it's the point 1 comma negative 8. All right. Is it a maximum or a minimum? It is a minimum because it's going to open up. What is the maximum or minimum value? The minimum value is y is equal to negative 8. The axis of symmetry, we should have done that already here, but it's x equals 1. And so this is our axis of symmetry. And the y-intercept is negative 5. So it's the point 0 in x, negative 5 in y. So we go over here to negative 5, and that would be our point 0 comma negative 5. Because of the axis of symmetry, we can go over one point to the right here and say that's another point there we have. The domain, as the domain for all quadratic equations that we have, quadratic functions, are going to be from negative infinity to positive infinity. And our range, because it's going up, has a minimum value. It goes as low as negative 8 and goes up to positive infinity. So, again, we can graph this, and it's going to look something like that. Again, that's a sketch. That's not perfect. If we were trying to be more careful, we could do a little better job. But that's a good sketch, and that's what we're looking for. Just to give us a rough idea of what are some information that we can get from these quadratics. So that's all I have for you in this video. Look forward to seeing you in class.